Imagine paying a tax in 2026 that was created before Isaac Newton discovered gravity, a tax born during a war, created by a Portuguese king, and still charged today when people buy homes, take loans, or sign certain financial contracts. This is the extraordinary story of Portugal's stamp duty tax, a 366-year-old tax that refuses to disappear. To understand this tax, we need to travel back to the year 1660. Portugal was fighting one of the most important wars in its history. The country had recently regained its independence from Spain after 60 years of foreign rule, but independence came at a price. Portugal needed soldiers, weapons, fortresses, and above all, money. The royal treasury was under enormous pressure. The government needed a new source of revenue that was easy to collect and difficult to avoid. So, on December 24, 1660, a new tax was introduced. What nobody realized at the time was that this temporary solution would still exist more than 3.5 centuries later. The name comes from the way the tax was originally collected. Centuries ago, certain legal documents required an official government stamp. The stamp proved that the tax had been paid. No stamp meant no legal recognition. If you wanted to transfer property, sign certain contracts, or complete specific legal procedures, you first had to buy the official stamp. It was a brilliant system. Rather than chasing citizens for tax payments, the government collected money whenever people needed important documents. The stamp became both a receipt and a symbol of state authority. And that's exactly where the name stamp duty comes from. Most taxes created during wartime disappear once the conflict ends. Portugal's stamp duty did not. The government soon discovered something important. The tax worked. It generated significant revenue. And because people were already accustomed to paying it, there was little reason to abolish it. Decade after decade, century after century, the tax survived. It lived through royal dynasties, the Napoleonic invasions, the fall of the Portuguese monarchy, the birth of the Republic, 2 world wars, and the digital revolution. Few institutions in Europe can claim such an uninterrupted history. For hundreds of years, physical tax stamps remained part of daily life. But by the end of the 20th century, the system looked increasingly outdated. Portugal modernized its tax administration. The traditional paper stamps disappeared. Electronic systems replaced them. Yet something interesting happened. Even though the stamp itself vanished, the tax survived. The name remained unchanged. Today, most Portuguese people have never seen an actual tax stamp. Yet they still pay a tax called stamp duty. Today, Portuguese stamp duty applies to a wide range of transactions. Some common examples include mortgage loans, personal loans, insurance premiums, certain banking services, some gifts and inheritances, various financial operations. As a result, millions of euros are collected every year through a tax whose origins date back to the 17th century. Every time a Portuguese citizen pays stamp duty, they are participating in a tradition that began during the age of kings, muskets, and sailing ships. Portugal's stamp duty is more than just a tax. It's a living piece of history, created in 1660 to finance a war, preserved through revolutions and political change, adapted to modern finance and digital technology, and still part of everyday life more than 3 centuries later. The soldiers who fought that war are gone. The kings who created the tax are gone. Even the original tax stamps are gone. But the tax itself remains, a remarkable reminder that history sometimes survives in the most unexpected places.